Hello everyone, welcome back to the session of English. In this session, we are going to continue with our topic prepositions. Now, this is part 5. Well, we have already learned prepositions in our earlier session. In fact, we have completed this chapter. But in this session or from this session now onwards, we are going to revise preposition with some additional points. So, in this session, what we are going to discuss? We are going to discuss introduction of preposition, categories of prepositions, prepositional phrases, ending sentences with prepositions, preposition versus adverb, phrasal verbs, and prepositions. So what we are going to do in this session, that we are going to revise prepositions in very detail, or you can say elaborately. We have already learned prepositions, but in these sessions now onwards, what we are going to do, we are going to discuss each and every preposition in detail. For example, one preposition may have different uses, different times, different styles of using that particular preposition. So in this session, we are going to read each and every preposition in detail, that how the sentences can be formed from a single preposition, how different sentences can be formed, how many sentences can be formed with the help of a single preposition. It means we are going to discuss each and every preposition elaborately. We are going to elaborate each and every preposition in detail. So these sessions are very, very important for all of you. Also, we are going to discuss where we use preposition strongly, where we cannot use preposition, where we should use this preposition only or that preposition only. Now, one more thing that we have already learned is there is prepositional phrases and phrasal verbs. But in this session, we are going to discuss these again with the help of some examples and with the context of preposition only. So let's begin the session. So first, let's have an introduction of what are prepositions. Basically, we have already learned this word before as well, but here in this session, we are going to revise it. Therefore, it is very important for all of us to know that what are prepositions, or just to recall that what are prepositions. So if we see this word carefully, that is preposition. Let me just break this word in two parts. One is pre and other is position. Now let us just focus these 2 points. That is, one is pre and other is position. Now you must have an idea about the word pre. Pre means with something which is prior to something else. For example, if there are two persons, A and B, and A is standing before B, it means A is prior to B. So pre means prior to something. So whenever a word is written prior to another thing which it is relating or which it is qualifying, position refers to a location of something, position of something, where that thing is. So that location, that situation, or that position, or that place, there is a position. For example, suppose you are in a room and you see that there is a table, and on this table, a cat is sitting. Now just let me draw this cat. Don't take my art seriously, it is not too good, but let me try that. This is a cat and it is sitting on the table. So this is just sitting on the table. Okay. So we can see that the position of this cat is on the table. That the position of this cat is on the table or above the table. So because it is touching the surface of the table, so we can say the cat is sitting on the table. Now let me write the sentence. The cat is sitting on the table. So I'm using a preposition that is on the table. Now, what is the position of this cat? She's sitting, or it is sitting on the table. So table is actually the position. Now, which word is indicating this position? On. We come to know about this position with the help of on. So on is a preposition and table is a position where the cat is. Basically, that is an adverb or whatever that is. It is actually the noun, or it can be an adverb, but that is the part of later on discussion. Here we can only see there is a word is on, which is just using before the table, and this cat is sitting on the table. So the position of this cat is table. And before this word, we have used on, which is showing us the position of that particular cat. So preposition in this, pre basically means prior to the position which that particular preposition is indicating. And because it is used before that particular noun, which is the position of that particular noun, so that is known as preposition. That is why we can divide this word into two parts. That is, one is pre and other is position, because it just comes prior to that particular word, that which is the position of that particular thing. Or if that preposition is indicating some time or some direction, obviously it is used before that. That is why it is known as preposition. Its position is prior to that particular thing which it is indicating. So a preposition is a word or group of words that shows the relationship between a noun or pronoun and other words in a sentence. The relationship typically denotes the location, direction, time, or manner. For example, if I say I started my journey at 9 o'clock. For example, this is the sentence, at my journey at 9 p.m. Let us say this. Now, 9 p.m. is time. And this at is indicating this time. So at is a preposition and it is also using before this 9 p.m. Therefore, this is a preposition or it is a preposition and it is indicating the time. So this is why this word is known as preposition. And preposition can be categorized into various sections, whether it can denote the location, the direction, the time, manner, or something else that we are going to discuss in this chapter. I hope you understood all of this. Now let us move to the next part. Prepositions are generally short words and they are normally placed directly in front of nouns. Basically not in front, but you can say before nouns. In some cases, when they are used together with a verb, they can form a phrase known as prepositional phrase. Now, what is actually prepositional phrase that we will discuss later on? It is a big thing or it is an elaborative thing which we are going to discuss later on. Although we have already seen a chapter related to it, or we are going to see a chapter related to it in the future. Now let us move to the next one. Now we'll discuss the categories of prepositions. So there are various categories of prepositions based on their usage. Now, first we can have time prepositions. It means some prepositions are there which indicate time. For example, these indicate when something happens. These include at, on, in, before, after, during, since, until, by. So there are several prepositions which shows us the time, or several prepositions which show us the time. For example, if I say in the morning, so in is a preposition which is denoting the time of morning. If I say at 2 o'clock, so at is a preposition which is denoting the clock time. There is 2 o'clock. So 2 o'clock is a clock time and at is telling me the time of that particular something which happens at 2 o'clock. So any action that took place at 2 o'clock or that is going to take place at 2 o'clock. So that at is a preposition, of course. Now, if I say that on Monday, I went there or I went there on Monday. So this on is a preposition which is denoting the time Monday, or you can say Monday is a time which has been denoted with the help of preposition on. So this on is a preposition that has been used for time or for indication of time. If I say during summer holidays or during the winter break, so during is just showing the duration of some particular time. So that duration is shown by the preposition during. So there are various prepositions which can be used only to indicate time. For example, I will meet you at 3 p.m. So this is a specific time, 3 p.m. This is a clock time, and at is used to show this time. So at is basically used to show the target time, or to show the clock time or the specific time that is always shown by at. She was born in January. Now, January is a duration of time, or you can say it is a month. It is a long period of time. And to show the long period of time, we basically use in. But for short time durations, we use on. For example, on Wednesday, on Monday, on 15th August, on a particular date. So there we use on, basically. For example, she was born on 20th February. So 20th Feb, there is a date. So here we are using on, because on is used to show short time durations, whereas in is used to show long time durations. Well, there are also many types of time indications which are shown by in, so that we are going to discuss later on in this chapter. Now let us move to the next one. Place indirect prepositions. Now, there are some prepositions which are used to show the place and directions. What are these? Let us discuss. These indicate position, direction, or movement. How? Position, for example, in, at, on, under, over, above, below, between, among, next to. So these are the positions or prepositions which are showing the position of something. Beside, by, towards. Now, towards and to, these prepositions show the direction. Movement can be shown by, out, across, through, around, into, upon, onto. So to show the movement, we can use upon, we can use onto, we can use into. So that is the movement which is shown. For example, let us take an example for position. For example, if I use for position, for example, the cat is on the table. So the position of cat is on the table. So there we are using the preposition on. If I say my grandmother is sitting in her bed, so, or lying in her bed. So in is showing the position of my grandmother. That is, it is in the bed. That is, she's just resting, or she's just taking rest in her bed. Now we can use for the direction. For example, Sonal is going to school. So she's going in a direction of school. So that is showing the direction, that is to. And to show the movement, how? For example, he dived into the water. So dived into, this is showing the movement. If I'm using dived, it means some person is in case of motion, in case of movement, and here the movement has been shown. And there I'm using the word into. Into is always used when someone is in motion, someone is in a process of conversion. So that is known as into. So there are different prepositions which can be used in different manners. Now let us move to the next one. For example, the cat is under the table. So under is a preposition. He walked towards the market. So toward is showing the direction. And if I say, suppose Rekha jumped into the well or into the river. Let us see. Into the river. So this jumped. This is showing the movement of some person. So into is used for movement. So these are some examples of these conditions of prepositions. Now let us move to the next one. Now we have manner prepositions. These indicate how something is done. So when anything happens, how does it happen? And what is the manner of its action, of its happening? And if some preposition is showing it, then it is known as manner preposition. How? For example, by, with, like. For example, she wrote the letter with a pen. Now, before understanding this example, let us understand something else as well about prepositions. Suppose a thing is done by someone. For example, an action takes place. Any action that takes place. Any action. And this action is performed basically by some person. Suppose there is a person A who is doing this action. Now, If I say a letter is written by A, a letter is written by A. Now A is a person, anyone. So a letter is written by A. He wrote this letter. He wrote this letter with a pen. With a pen. Now he wrote this letter with a pen. Now, if I say with a pen, that's okay. Now, there can be different colors of the ink. Suppose he took green color or he chose green color to write that particular letter. So he wrote that letter. He wrote the letter in green ink. Green ink. It means the color of that particular ink is green. Now in this sentence, you can see here, first preposition is by. Now this A, this is a person who is performing this action. Which action? Writing. What he is writing? A letter. So this is a passive voice basically. But the agent who is doing this work, this is denoted by preposition by. Next thing, he is using a pen to write it. So this pen is an instrument which has been used by A to write that particular letter, and for this I'm using with. Again, I have another instrument that is ink, and that ink is green color ink. So with before this we have used a preposition in. So there are different prepositions for different types of things that we can see in this sentence. What are the types of these things? First of all, if there is a person who does anything, that person is known as agent basically. It means one who performs that particular action is known as agent if the sentence is in passive voice. Second thing, whatever this agent uses to do that particular work is known as instrument. So that is known as instrument. Now this instrument can be of two types. One is countable instrument and another is uncountable instrument. Now how? Let us see. If I say pen, of course, pen is countable. You can count many pens. If there are 4 pens, you can count them. 1, 2, 3, 4. If there is only one pen, obviously you can count it. That this is only a pen, only one pen. So pens are countable basically. So whenever there is a countable instrument, there is something else. And if I say ink, now you cannot count ink. You cannot say 1 ink, 2 ink, 3 ink. You can only measure ink, but you cannot count it. So that is an uncountable instrument. So whenever an agent works or whenever an agent does some action, he uses some instruments which are either countable or uncountable. So for different instruments, we use different prepositions, and for agent, we use some other preposition. What are the prepositions? First of all, let us see agent. So agent is basically denoted by. Countable instrument is shown by with, and uncountable instrument is always shown by in. This is very, very important. Now, let us see the sentence. She wrote the letter with a pen. So, the letter was written by her with a pen. So, you can see over here that pen is a countable instrument with which we have used with. So, this is a preposition which we are using with countable instruments. Now, for example, suppose there is a person. I said that he that the letter is written by him with a feather in blood. Now, he is writing the letter with his blood. So, blood is uncountable, obviously. So, we can use in for that. So, this letter is written by him with a feather in blood. So for blood, we are using in. For feather, we are using with. For the person who is doing this, of course, we are using by. So you must take care while writing these types of sentences that which preposition should be used with which instrument or with which agent. Now let us move to the next one. Now there are agent prepositions. So these are same that we have already discussed earlier as well. For example, here we are doing manner prepositions. So Here we can see these indicate a relationship between a doer and an action. By and with, the book was written by Shakespeare. So this work has been done by Shakespeare, so we have used the preposition by. Now, if I say she wrote the letter with a pen, so the letter with a pen, and suppose I say that she wrote the letter with a pen with all her heart, or by love, by hard work. So that is by the manner in which we are performing that particular action. Now let us move to the next one. There is measure preposition. Measure prepositions basically indicate the differences of weight, amount, age, length, etc. It means there are several prepositions which shows the weight, shows amount of something, shows age of something, shows length of something, and we use different prepositions for those. So these are known as minor prepositions. For example, measure prepositions. For example, by and with. They won the match by 3 wickets. So by 3 wickets. So this difference of winning, this is shown by a preposition by. So this by is a measure preposition. For example, he is junior to me by 2 months. So that by is again a measure preposition. So these are several different prepositions which are used to measure the things, or which are used when some measurement takes place. Now let us move to the next one. Now we are going to read prepositional phrases. That what are prepositional phrases? Now there can be 2 types of prepositional phrases. One which are making the preposition phrases. For example, if we combine a verb and a preposition to make a phrase, and in this we can have different prepositions with a single verb, but each time the use of that particular verb differs or changes, but the meaning of the verb does not change. How? Suppose I take a word that is made. So with made we can use made of. Again with made we can use made from. So when I use made of, it is basically used for the changes which are reversible, or which can be changed into their particular formation as before or again. For example, if there is ice and it melts and it becomes water, and if water freezes, it becomes ice again. So this is reversible. This is a physical change. So we can use made of with that. For example, the ice is made of water, or the water is made of ice. Also, we can have various changes like this. For example, the table is made of wood. Now, if I break this table, I'll get the wood again. So there is made of. And for a permanent change, for a change which is not reversible, we can use made from. How? For example, if tea is made, can you get back the milk? Can you get back the sugar? Can you get back the tea leaves? No. It means that is a permanent change. That is a chemical change. So whenever a chemical change takes place, we use made from. For example, tea is made from milk, water, tea leaves, sugar, cardamom, etc. So that is the use of made from. So in this part we can see that the meaning of made is same, but its use changes according to the change in the preposition. So there is also a phrase preposition or a prepositional phrase. Now we can have another type of prepositional phrase as well. What are these? Let's discuss. A prepositional phrase begins with a preposition and includes the object of the preposition, usually a noun or pronoun. The phrase can function as an adjective or a verb. How? The cat with the fluffy tail is cute. Now, the cat, we are talking about the cat. Now, with is a preposition. The fluffy tail. Now, this fluffy tail is a noun and fluffy is an adjective which is describing this noun. Is cute. Cute is again adjective which is used for this cat. So, preposition phrases with the fluffy tail. So, this entire part which contains a preposition, this can be a prepositional phrase which is describing the cat. So, this is also called a prepositional phrase. Now, let us move to the next one. There are several sentences which can be ended with the help of prepositions. For example, this is the book I was looking for. So, with looking, we are using preposition. So, looking for. What are you waiting for? So if a sentence basically begins with an interrogative uh, pronoun or interrogative word, we can use the preposition at the last of the sentence as per the requirement of that particular verb. Whom did you speak to? So because we know well that with the speak we obviously use to, with listen we use to, with reply we use to. So these are some necessary prepositions, so which we can use at the end of the sentence if the verb is at the end of the sentence. So we can use the preposition at the end of the sentence. So these are the styles of ending the sentence with the help of prepositions. Now let us move to the next one. Now there is a difference between preposition versus adverb, or we can have a phrase in which we can have preposition and which we can differ preposition with the help of adverb or from the adverb. How? Some words can be both prepositions and adverbs. How? But their function differs based on the sentence. For instance, up. Now up is a preposition and up can be an adverb as well. She looked up is an adverb, but she climbed up the ladder is a preposition. So if we see the sentence she looked up, it means she looked. Now where did she look? She looked up. So up is describing the position in which this action takes place, or in which this action took place. So this up is a place. So this is an adverb. But if I say she climbed up the tree, so climbed up the tree. So sorry, the ladder. So the ladder is an adverb in which this up is a preposition because it is just using with the verb and it is showing the position. So these are the styles in which we can use a preposition and it can be used as an adverb as well. Now let us move to the next one. Now phrasal verbs and prepositions. So there are some phrasal verbs as well. So there is a difference between prepositional phrase and phrasal verb. What is the difference? Let us discuss here. So what are phrasal verbs? Here again we have a combination of verb plus preposition. Now what happens in this combination? Again, this verb and preposition, this makes a phrase, but in this case, the meaning of this verb changes from the, and it is different from the individual meaning of this particular verb. For example, if I say give up, now give means to give something, to transfer something to someone else. Up means the above position. For example, if I look up, it means I'm looking above myself. So that is up. So the meaning of up is something else. The meaning of give is something else. But if I see this phrase give up means to leave something. Now the meaning of this particular phrase is totally different from the individual meanings of these words. So this behaves like an idiom or phrase. So this is known as phrasal verb and it is totally different from the actual verb or actual preposition that are used in this manner. English has numerous multi-word verbs known as phrasal verbs that consist of a verb followed by a verb that is typically used as a preposition. This component, however, functions as a participle rather than a true preposition. Particle rather than a true preposition. The meaning of phrasal verbs often cannot be deduced simply by understanding the individual words. For example, give up, that means to quit. Now there is another, get up. Now we know well that the meaning of get up is means to wake up. Now does the meaning of get and up is same as to wake up? No, not at all. Get means to achieve something, to gain something. Whereas get up means to just get up from a place, to wake up, to stand up. That is the meaning of get up. So that is just like an idiom or phrase. So in this way, you can see that there are different prepositions and their categories. There are different categories of prepositions that we have discussed in this session. In the future sessions or in the later sessions, we are going to discuss prepositions, each and every preposition in detail, because one preposition may have different uses that we are going to discuss in our next session. Thank you very much.